Ruby Bridges and other African American students were chosen to take a hard test to determine whether or not they were able to attend an all-white school. Ruby was the only kindergarten out of 6 others who passed a difficult test. She will now be attending William Frantz Public School in New Orleans, Louisiana. When the parents whose kids were already enrolled into the school were unenrolled because Ruby was soon to be attending. Ruby arrived to William Frantz Elementary on November 19, 1960. She had to be escorted by U.S. Marshals every day to protect her from angry parents who were shouting, protesting, and threatening to harm her. While Ruby Bridges was going to school, there was only one teacher that was willing to teach her, who was Barbara Henry. Bridges was the only student in her class. Bridges said that Henry taught her to judge people by their character, not their color of their skin. The parents were angry because they won the Segregation Act back in 1896, court ruling in Plessy versus Ferguson ushered in an era of separate but equal. But despite this case, blacks were still treated unfairly. Everything was separated, from schools, churches, cemeteries, transportation, to even benches and water fountains. Black schools were poorly constructed, sagging floors, and windows that had no glass. The black teachers were paid less than white teachers. All of this and many more, which caused the U.S. Supreme Court ordered the end of separate but equal education for African and American students. There was a group called Little Rock Nine who experienced the same difficulties as Ruby Bridges just 2 years before. They were the first 9 African American students to come to Little Rock Central High School, which was an all-white school. Their names go by Gloria Ray, Terrence Roberts, Melba Patillo, Elizabeth Eckford, Ernest Green, Minnijean Brown, Jefferson Thomas, Carlotta Walls, and Themo Mothershed. When the Little Rock Nine arrived at Central High School, they were greeted by a mob of white people shouting racial slurs and throwing objects. The Arkansas National Guard blocked them from entering the school. The students were forced to return home. President D. Eisenhower responded to all this chaos on a televised speech on September 24, 1957. In his speech, he stated that the Supreme Court had ruled that separate public schools were unconstitutional. He then ordered the 101st Airborne Division to the Little Rock to ensure the safety of the African American students. The Little Rock Nine were escorted into the school by the 101st Airborne Division on September 25, 1957. Terrence Roberts stated that him and the 8 others faced relentless harassment, isolation, and physical violence from their white peers. They also couldn't participate in any activities. Ernest Green said that he was motivated to keep on going to create a better future for his children. Elizabeth Eckford said that she realized that what they were doing was not for themselves, but for future generations of African Americans. Ernest Green became the first African American to graduate from Little Rock Central High School on May 27, 1958. Carlotta Walls graduated from Central High School in 1960. They were the only 2 members from the Little Rock Nine to graduate from Central High School. The Little Rock Nine inspired Ruby Bridges to designate her school in New Orleans, Louisiana in 1960. Lucille Bridges, Ruby Bridges' mother, believed that sending Ruby to the first designated school in New Orleans was worth the risk. She wanted Ruby to have the best education possible, like other children. Ruby Bridges going to William Frantz all-white elementary had many consequences for her family. Her father, Abon Bridges, lost his job at a gas station because of the attendance backlash and threats that his family faced. Ruby Bridges faced racism every day that she went to William Frantz Elementary, but her teacher, Barbara Henry, created a safe space for her. She was kind and understood Ruby and had a true bond with Ruby, and they became best friends. Ruby Bridges stated that her teacher looked exactly like the people outside the school, but she showed me her heart. After a year of Ruby Bridges attending William Frantz Elementary School in Louisiana, the number of black African American students increased. She didn't have to be escorted by U.S. Marshals every day. She could walk to school. She wasn't the only African American in her classroom anymore. She also didn't face any racism entering and exiting out the school. Ruby Bridges' bravery and commitment to equality helped pave the way for civil rights action and integration all around the world. Ruby Bridges' experience also taught her that people should not be judged by their appearance and that differences can be a source of discovery and respect. Ruby Bridges helped reform education to where it is now. More white schools or African American schools that separated. All schools have different kind of races that's all learned together with equality. She brought future generations together. Who knew that a brave 6-year-old back in the 1960s would be the reason that we are all together with different people of different race? We are all equal. That means no more separate benches, water fountains, churches, hospitals, grave sites, or transportation. We can all enter the same building without feeling unwelcome. Ruby Bridges, now 70 years old, who still lives in New Orleans, Louisiana. She is married to Malcolm Halls. They have 3 sons together, Craig Hall, Sean Hall, and Christopher Hall. She is a travel agent and civil rights activist. She runs a Ruby Bridges Foundation to help troubled children at William Frantz Elementary School and other schools.
The year was 1960, and some white people didn't treat black people as equal. In some parts of the U.S., black people were kept separate from whites and viewed as less. They couldn't sit with whites on a bus or drink from the same fountains. They said, why us? It wasn't fair. If there was a school with white kids, then black kids couldn't go there. White people had set up this separation, and it was called segregation. It affected many, truly, including a girl from New Orleans named